My family and I moved to the US from Albania in 1998. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Before that, we were living in Greece, and as you know, Albanians are not treated equally there. We moved to Philadelphia and were one of the first few Albanian families to settle here. My parents helped so many other Albanians moving here, and we were involved in the Albanian community. On the outside, we were a loving family and very well put together. However, things inside the house were very unstable. I want to also mention that I am the eldest daughter and had two younger sisters. Thankfully, we didn't have any brothers because I think our story might have went differently if we did. The biggest issue we had was my father. Both of my parents were raised during the dictatorship in Albania and had experienced trauma during that time. My dad specifically. He's the eldest son in the family, and his dad was a horrible man. He had a reputation in the village as a drunk and an abuser. My dad has been through things that I cannot imagine. He has siblings in jail, and one of his brothers is institutionalized in a mental hospital. Growing up, my dad was abusive. He would emotionally abuse my mum, and it was only recently that I found out that he was physically abusive too. I remember always being afraid of him and having to break up fights all the time. I had to protect my sisters as well and did my best to shield them from what was going on in our house. For a long time, I was an angry child and I cried often. I went through all the typical things that you talk about on your podcast and hid it all because I didn't know how to cope. One specific event that I remember really traumatized me, and it happened when I was 9 or 10. We were visiting my dad's side of the family, who I no longer have contact with. I was at the house with my dad, my sister, and my cousin. Everyone else was out shopping. I don't remember exactly what my cousin and I were arguing about, but I remember my dad getting really, really angry. My dad took me and my sisters to the bedroom, and he threw me on the bed and got on top of me. He put a pillow on my face and I tried to fight back, but I was young. I remember my sister yelling and crying for him to leave me alone. He eventually got off and left me alone. I remember when my mum came back, I just ran to her and hugged her. To this day, she still doesn't know what happened. She's asked me before, but I just don't have the heart to tell her because it would kill her to know that she wasn't there to protect me. Thankfully, my mum is a fierce woman who fought back. She worked with a group of American women who supported her every step of the way. Those women saved her life and ours. My mum thought about divorcing my dad for almost 20 years before she finally did. I was in high school at the time. I remember how scary it was for us to leave him. I had panic attacks all the time, and I remember my younger sister always disassociating. During the divorce, the Albanian community completely shunned us. They said we were going to end up as prostitutes on the streets without my dad. They shamed my mum and blamed her for our family falling apart. We lost all of our friends. It was really lonely for a while. But my mum never gave up and did everything to shield us and raise us. She is truly my hero and deserves everything good in the world. She went against the culture and tradition to escape the abuse and protect her kids. To this day, she is still one of only 3 Albanian women in Philadelphia who have left their husbands. Years later, we are doing so well. I've been in therapy for 7 years, and so have my sisters. We have overcome so much as a family, and every day I am proud of us. I have American friends who support me and love me. They've made me so much stronger and taught me that there is no shame in being independent and strong-willed. The Albanian community here still does not want anything to do with us. We are loud and we are unapologetic, and most importantly, we are free. We still keep in contact with my mum's side of the family. However, we have really strict boundaries with them and do not let the men disrespect us in any way. There are still so many times they try to belittle us, and we know that they just don't see us as equals, but we don't care. We are quick to put the men in our family in their place, and we are not afraid of them. We are safe and free to live our lives how we want. I hope that you share this story for any woman who is scared to leave her abusive husband, or for any woman who has gone through something similar. There is always hope. Leaving might be scary, but being in a house with an escalating and dangerous man is much scarier. Albanian women are strong and capable of providing for themselves, and I know that the community we are building here will change the narrative of our culture.